Hello, and welcome back to Japan. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, I would highly recommend to do so, since this is just a direct continuation. The link for that is in the description. I won't hold you any longer, let's get back on track. The next day when I came back from Hakone was the worst day of my trip. I felt pretty miserable on this day. I probably managed to catch some sort of a sickness from what I believe was from something I ate, or it might have also been the heat of the previous day that triggered something. I have no idea, something along those lines. It was unfortunate that I basically lost one day to this, but then again, I was lucky that it was only one day. I didn't expect to feel good again on the next day, but honestly, I'm not complaining. One entire day had already been lost, so there was no time to be wasted. As soon as I was feeling better the next morning, I decided to go check out the Imperial Palace. Or well, that was the plan. I'm clearly not the best in what comes to planning ahead, and the palace was already closed by the time I got there. Wonderful. At least I saw it from the outside and it was pretty cool. I planned to come back to visit it some other day, but spoiler alert, the day when I was going to go there, something happened that screwed up my plans entirely. More on this towards the end of the video. From this beautiful central station of Tokyo, I took my way towards Odaiba, one of the few areas that actually has some beach in Tokyo. Even though it was an artificial beach and there were pretty much no people here, it was still nice to chill out and sit under a shadow of a tree for a while. I think the views here are super cool, and there's a lot of things to do here aside from the beach as well, such as a mall and a theme park of some sort that I did not visit unfortunately. My next destination was New York in the United States of America. I'm kidding, this Statue of Liberty is in Odaiba, and while it looks exactly like the one in New York, it's way smaller in size. It was given to Japan by France in the late 1990s as a symbol of the country's friendship. That's pretty neat. I then started walking to the train station, and I took a bit of a longer route half accidentally. I did end up seeing this massive Gundam robot, which was hella cool even though I've never watched Gundam. Maybe I should, just maybe. Well, this day was pretty much in the wraps, and I needed to rest well to prepare for the next 2 very busy days. This right here is a Shinkansen, a bullet train. They can go up to 320 km per hour, so yeah, they've definitely earned their name. So you may be wondering, where the hell was I going if I took a Shinkansen? Well, you see, I wanted to see other cities as well aside from just Tokyo. After some planning, I came to the conclusion that it would be cheapest to bundle these trips to other cities together, as that way I would have to buy fewer Shinkansen tickets, albeit I would have to stay the night in one of these locations. I decided to do a 2-day trip to see Kyoto and Osaka. Kyoto was my first destination from Tokyo. Tokyo and Kyoto are around 450 kilometers apart, but due to the power of Shinkansen, it took just over 2 hours to get to Kyoto. When I got to Kyoto, the first thing I wanted to do was just walk around for a little bit, since I had just been on the train. Here's a clip of my phone crashing for the first time ever. I was filming and using Google Maps at the same time, and it was extremely hot outside, which resulted in my phone just giving up. Thankfully, it started working again after a short while. I don't know what I would have done if it just died. My first real destination in Kyoto was the Fushimi Inari Shrine. This is a shrine built on the mountainside, and you can walk these long stairs on top of the shrine if you so choose. It was probably the hottest day of the entire trip, but since I knew I wouldn't be coming here again, I made the decision to walk up the shrine. The base of the shrine was absolutely beautiful too, but this was just the beginning. This shrine is known for the thousands of torii gates that it has all over the place. Like seriously, there's a lot of these gates here, way more than even my clips can convey. They were everywhere, but damn they are beautiful. Aside from the torii gates, there were also many of these altars and other shrine stuff. It's overall a beautiful aesthetic, and despite feeling terrible because of the heat, I think climbing this shrine was one of the best things I did on this trip. There were surprisingly a lot of people climbing the shrine on this day, way more than I could have expected. I thought that most people wouldn't bother due to the heat, but sometimes tourists are just built different, it seems. There were a lot of vending machines throughout the climb, and they were a lifesaver. I don't know if I would have survived without being able to buy water from these. One funny thing about them, however, was that the prices of the machines increased the higher you went. It's a great business strategy, I'll give them that. The view near the top of the shrine was breathtaking. It was pretty high up and I definitely felt that in my legs. This right here is the highest point of the shrine. You really could see many people celebrating their victory and taking a lot of pictures. Climbing the shrine took maybe a bit under 2 hours. Could have been less with fewer breaks, but unsurprisingly, in this weather, breaks are a must. The stroll back down was way more fun. It wasn't nearly as exhausting, and most of the way was covered by a forest, so you didn't feel the burning sun as much as when you were climbing up. It was actually really damn nice, except the fact that I got a blister on my foot which started hurting only when going down. Well, it is what it is, can't let stuff like this stop you. This shrine actually took most of the time I had planned to spend in Kyoto, but I don't really regret it since it was a one-of-a-kind experience. I then took my way to Gion, a geisha district in Kyoto. This place was so beautiful, and I'm so sad that my time here was extremely limited. This river here is called the Kamo River, and it might be the single most comfortable and nice place I went to on this entire trip. I don't really know how to explain it, but walking on the side of the river while watching people sitting on the shore, other people having performances on the side of the road and all the buzz from the restaurants on the sides, just created such a nice feeling. The river itself was also so beautiful. If I had unlimited time, I would have stayed here for so much longer. So much longer. I also wanted to check out some of the streets that were here in Gion. The aesthetic is just so cool and I love this kind of older style of architecture. I also saw another shrine here, and I definitely would have checked it out if I had time, but I had to leave, so I only got this shot from the outside. Honestly, not spending more time in Kyoto was the biggest regret I have from this entire trip. I reserved around 7 hours for this city, and no, that was not enough, not at all. If I ever come back to Japan again, I want to go back to Kyoto and properly explore the city. And I also want to spend at least one evening just sitting on the shore of the river. Small goals, but very important ones. I then returned back to the Kyoto station and took another Shinkansen to Osaka. Osaka is actually very close to Kyoto, and by bullet train it took literally like 15 minutes. My first destination in Osaka was naturally Dotonbori. This area is pretty much the heart of the city, and it actually felt a lot like being back in Tokyo. This was the only night I would spend in the city, so I felt that Dotonbori would probably be the best to see at nighttime, which admittedly it was. I love how the Dotonbori river goes through this area, and all of the lamps and restaurants and everything once again created a unique atmosphere. There was also this boat performance that happened while I was there. Now at the time I had no idea what this was, and to be honest, I still don't. I can't find any information on this, so if anybody knows what this whole thing is, please let me know, I am very curious. After this, one last goal for the night before going to find my hotel was to see Osaka Shinsekai, this little area that has a bunch of restaurants and this cool tower. Most of the places here were already closed since it was very late when I got there, but I still wanted to see it, and I felt that seeing it at night was also the best option. Honestly, I liked the feeling this place had. Once again, it was something unique I had not seen before, so it was a nice place to spend some time at night. Then it was time to find my hotel, and while it was pretty far away, I didn't mind that at all since I got to walk a lot and got these beautiful shots of the city. These are some of my favorite shots I got from the trip, so I'm gonna play them here just a bit longer. I hope you don't mind. After this nice walk, I finally found my way to my hotel, where I was going to spend one night at. Well, this is how this hotel room looks in Osaka. Of course we gotta check the window. This is on 11th floor, so there might actually be a view. Well, you know, could be worse. But yeah, I'm gonna spend one night here and it's already 12:30, so I'm gonna go to sleep because it's gonna be another long day ahead of me. Good night. The next morning was just as hot as the previous ones. My first goal for today in Osaka was to see the Osaka Castle. It's really a must-see place in the city, and I can completely see why. It's a beautiful place. No wonder there were a bunch of people who had come to see the castle as well. This right here is the castle itself. Very nice. I actually did go inside the castle, although they had turned the place into a museum. Well, no complaints there. I got to see a bunch of cool stuff, as you can see here. If you like your history, you can spend ages in this place just reading about all of the shoguns and emperors and battles that took place. The history of Osaka and Japan in general is just so fascinating. There was also a nice view on top of the castle, and here's when I realized that I hadn't actually been to a place with a proper view yet before this. Well, that would have to be fixed later down the line, right? The last thing I wanted to check out in Osaka was Denden Town, Osaka's version of Akihabara. Or so I heard from the internet. Let's just say that Denden Town was kind of a disappointment for me. I expected it to be bigger and have more stuff going for it, but maybe that's just because I already saw Akiba multiple times before coming here. Perhaps I should have come here first and then saved Akiba for later, but no can do. After this, it was finally time to take another Shinkansen back to Tokyo. This 2-day trip was nice, but I wish it wasn't just a 2-day trip. Could have easily been like a 4-day trip, so I could have seen more of Osaka, and especially more of Kyoto, but well, that's something I gotta remember when I return to Japan eventually. The next morning I didn't film anything. I think I was probably back in Akihabara or something like that. This is the moment when I started realizing that my time in Japan was slowly coming to an end, despite having like 5 or 4 more days. So it was now that I started going back to some of the places I enjoyed the most in Tokyo. But this day wasn't all boring Akiba shopping, since in the evening there would be an event that would shock everybody that hates big crowds of people. This event was held at the Sumida River, very near Asakusa. It is held every year on the last Saturday of July. This event is called the Sumidagawa Fireworks Festival, and as the smartest of you can guess, it involves fireworks. A lot of fireworks, as you're about to see. I thought I was early when I arrived at Asakusa, but as you can see, a lot of people probably thought the same. This is a crowd unlike anything I've ever seen before. As you can see, there were people literally everywhere. You could only walk super slow because this massive crowd was all moving at once, guided by the police that were on the side of the road. I genuinely was kind of afraid that I wouldn't see the fireworks at all, since I was so far away from the bridge, sandwiched in between a million people. Literally a million people. This is an event that has over 1 million visitors every single year. My Finnish desire for my own private space really was a test here. For a long time you could only see the fireworks occasionally, and each time a loud bang was heard, the entire crowd turned to its direction and started filming despite seeing nothing. I did this as well, as you can see. However, as it got darker and darker outside, they started shooting way more fireworks, and at one point the entire million people crowd started walking forward and over the bridge. This took a long time since everything was guided by the police and everybody stopped at each time fireworks were being shot. Either way, I'm glad they gave us the opportunity to walk, since I wouldn't have seen a single firework from the place where I stored it. Well, as you can see, they actually started shooting a lot of these things. It's not like I've never seen fireworks before, but this was still pretty damn cool, I gotta admit. The most difficult part of this event started when I finally got out of the crowd. Turns out that, obviously, the police had closed many of the streets, alleyways and entrances to stations due to the event. It was pretty difficult to find my way back to the station I came from, since I had to find some other fuck-ass route to it. And of course Google Maps wasn't much of help, since it just tried to guide me to the entrance that was closed. Well, at least I survived. Very nice experience all in all. I got to have a taste of the big world. As I said before, this is when I started visiting many of my favorite places in the city again. I went to mainly Akihabara and Shibuya, but I didn't film much from either. In Shibuya, I really wanted to visit the freshly opened store called the JoJo World, a store of course focused on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Unfortunately, the place was so popular that you would have had to reserve a ticket early, and I only found out about this once I went to the damn place myself. So I only managed to get this one picture from outside of the store. Very sad, I really would have wanted to visit this place, it looked so cool. Now I think it would be a good time to check out some of the stuff I bought while in Japan. So I filmed this little souvenir showcase. If you don't care, here's a timestamp you can skip to in order to continue this Japan journey. Okay, hello everybody. Now, unfortunately there is only a few days left of this trip and I just realized I haven't filmed anything where I speak, really, except for that one short clip in Osaka and then the than the clips when I got here. So now I thought, why not do like a little segment where I show what I've bought? Because I've bought a lot of things. Usually I don't buy anything when I'm traveling, but now I've bought a fuck ton of things. So let's start, I guess. And first of all is this Luffy figurine. Luffy in his Onigashima fit. Cool. Yay. This was 3,500 yen. And yeah, very nice. Next up is another Luffy figurine, but this one I didn't actually really buy. I got this from a claw machine, and literally for 100 yen. First tried this shit. And yeah, it was a bit of a different kind of claw machine. It wasn't like your regular figurine claw machine where you just kind of like push it around and then it falls after you've tried 30 times. But yeah, it was kind of like a ball that I got from there, and then I had to contact the employee of the Mugiwara store, and she told me that I won this. So very nice, very cheap, basically free. It was like 58 cents. Yay, very free. Okay, let's get all of these One Piece things out of the way. So we have the small Gear 5 Luffy. This was also from a claw machine. I think I got this from on the second try. And yeah, very nice. Yay. And here is One Piece volume number 1. This is in Japanese. I can't read Japanese, but it's a collectible. Very nice to have the first volume in Japanese. Yay. And this was so cheap. This was like 3 euros. While the English volumes were like 15 euros. So I don't know what the fuck is up with that, but if you can read Japanese, you can save a lot of money. That's true. I almost forgot my final One Piece figurine. It's Trafalgar Law. Yay. This was from one of those actually real claw machines, you could say. And yeah, I felt scammed when I got this, because it was like, literally I spent like 3,000 yen. I got scammed, but I had to experience it at least once. So yeah, nice to have Law. He's a cool character. And here you can see a real Shonen Jump. A real Shonen Jump magazine, and I was so lucky because it had a full Luffy cover for this week. When I bought this, I think it was last week. And yeah, very nice, very nice. And of course this is the actual magazine, so here's a lot of chapters of different manga that I cannot read, including the currently latest chapter of One Piece. Thank you, advertisements. So if you haven't caught up with One Piece, don't look at this. But this is the chapter where we see Rocks. We see Rocks Dizebek for the first time, and his crew, and him going to Marijoa and all that. Of course, once again, I cannot read Japanese, but it's nice to have this. And yes, I read the chapter in English. That was almost all of the One Piece things, but I have one more, and it's this mint tablet thing with a robin on the cover. Once again, I don't know why I bought this, I just thought it looked cool. So yes, very nice. Now moving on from One Piece, this I actually did not buy, this was free. And it's to remind me of my disappointment how I could not enter the JoJo world. Yes, the store just opened last weekend from me filming this, of course, and yeah, I could not enter unfortunately because you would need to like reserve a ticket or something, which I didn't know about, and now it's too late. So unfortunately I cannot visit the JoJo world, but here's a picture that I took when I was outside of the store. It's really nice, and it's just cool. At least I got this. Yay. The next thing is the only non-anime thing that I bought.
and it's it's the Taiko no Tatsujin drum controller. Let's just say that I had never played this before I came to Japan, and then I went to the arcade, and I kinda got addicted to the arcade version of this, so when I saw this at the store I was like, okay, I need to get that. So yes, I can stay even more addicted at home. This was also a really random purchase. I think I bought this from a vending machine. It's like a Demon Slayer drink. I'm pretty sure it might be coffee. But like, I'm not gonna open this until I get home. I just want to have this as like a small memorabilia. I'm not the biggest fan of Demon Slayer, as you know, if you watch my videos, but I thought this looked hella cool, which it does. And yeah, by the way, Demon Slayer in Japan is huge. I'm actually here when the movie is coming out, the latest movie, and you cannot escape it. There are posters everywhere of this, so yeah. Next up, you're gonna see a lot of Steins Gate stuff, because as you know, Steins Gate is one of my favorite animes as well. Let's start with the small things. We have a little Okabe keychain. I'll explain where I got this in just a little bit. And these as well, like, I don't know what these are, they're just paper. But these kinda came in a bundle. I'll soon explain where I got these. Now this is not Steins Gate, but it's the entry ticket to Shinjuku Gyoen. Cool. And then there is this, a stamp card for Cafe Mailish, which was the Steins Gate cafe that I went and... as I already told you, I was a little disappointed with it, so I won't be going again, but... cool, I guess, yeah. Now these are the reason why I got these. It's this, and this. So these two I got from a vending machine, like a very special vending machine that was at the Radio Kaikan, which is of course one of the places where Steins Gate events happen in the show and the visual novel. So I got these. I don't know what these are exactly. I think it's like an energy drink, at least. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Once again, I haven't opened these because I want to save them for home. But like, I don't know if I dare drink these, because these are either gonna extend my life by 10 years, or they're gonna kill me on the spot. So, very nice. Now this was also kind of a random purchase from like a souvenir store in Akihabara. It's like a Steins Gate plastic bag with 2 bottles of Dr. Pepper inside. I mean, I get it, they drink Dr. Pepper in the show, haha, very funny, but yeah, I don't really have much to say about this. The art is pretty cool though. Now the last Steins Gate related thing is a figurine of Makise Kurisu. This was pain to find, actually. I don't know what it is, but it's super difficult to find Steins Gate merch. Even in Akihabara, which is where the show takes place, so I don't know why it's so difficult, but I found, finally, and it's not even a Gunnar figure, thank god, but yes, yay. Now the last thing is the absolute funniest thing that I bought, and I don't know if you can see it too well because it's in bubble wraps, but it's like Konosuba wine or something like that. You can't see it very well. Here's a more clearer picture when I've got home, but like, this shit was so funny when I saw it at the store. I was like, there is no way this is real. Yes, this was probably the dumbest fucking purchase, but you know, I had to. So yeah, that's all of the stuff that I bought, and of course some souvenirs for my family as well that I won't show here. But yeah, I bought so much stuff. I wasn't supposed to, but I did. I bought so much that I had to buy a new suitcase, so now I have 2. I mean, yippee, I guess. But yeah, enjoy the rest of the video now.
Remember what I said about still needing to check out a good place to get a view over the city? Well, my first idea was to go to Shibuya Sky, a tower in Shibuya, but unfortunately they were all sold out for the day. So I took my way back to Asakusa and from there back to Sumida for one more time, to go visit the Tokyo Skytree. This tower is the tallest building in all of Japan, with a height of 634 meters. There were basically two floors dedicated to the views. The first one, the Tembo Deck, was located at the height of 350 meters, and the second one, the Tembo Gallery, was located at 450 meters. Naturally, I had to check them both out. My terrible camera doesn't do any justice to the views you can see here. Honestly, I wish I came here earlier. This really would have been a crazy way to start this Japan trip, but better late than never. I highly recommend Tokyo Skytree or some other alternative. You really shouldn't miss this kind of a view over the largest city in the world, if you ever happen to visit it. While I was in the Skytree, I received a message that changed my plans for my final day, which would be the following day. My initial plan was to spend the final day just chilling and buying some souvenirs for my family, like you know, just a very normal final day of a trip. But this wouldn't be a proper Hasu trip without some unexpected shenanigans. If you remember in part 1 of this duology, I talked about visiting a conveyor belt sushi restaurant and having a conversation with a local. I actually asked her if she wanted to show me around some places, because as I've already said in the Poland travel video, it is much more insightful to have a quote-unquote tour guide. Her schedule was extremely filled, so we couldn't figure out a date that would work for her. So I honestly thought that it wouldn't happen at all, as I didn't hear from her in over a week. But alas, when I was in the Tokyo Skytree, she messaged me and said that the next day would work for her. Well, of course I wouldn't miss this opportunity, and this led to possibly the most insane day of the entire trip. And we're off to Kamakura, a small city located in the Kanagawa prefecture, about an hour away by train from Tokyo. This was my Japanese friend's favorite place in the country, and she really wanted to show it to me. Having now visited this place, I can say that there's no wonder it was her favorite. Kamakura had many beautiful temples and overall just a lot of nature. And well, being Finnish, I appreciate nature. But oh well, things always just don't work out as intended. About 5 minutes after I got out of the train, I was waiting for my friend outside of the train station, and I all of a sudden received an alert on my phone that made my heart skip a beat. Well, as you can see here, I think this would shake most people up to their core, especially when it's mostly in a language you don't understand. At the same time this alert appeared on my phone, a speaker started playing an evacuation message. After like 10 seconds of being extremely scared, I quickly realized that nobody around me cared about the warning at all. As my friend arrived at the location as well, she didn't seem to care about it either. Is this like a common occurrence in the shores of Japan? Jokes aside, the earthquake that happened on that day was located closer to Russia in Kamchatka, and I was on the complete opposite side of Japan, which meant that there was pretty much no danger of a tsunami hitting the place I was in. But all in all was good and we were able to check out Kamakura. Or well, all was good for now. The first place in Kamakura we went to check out was this beautiful temple and garden area with a bamboo forest on the side. Honestly, quite possibly one of the most beautiful places I saw in Japan. It had such a calm feeling to it, I loved it. From there, we moved on to check out another temple, where I was taught the rituals of visiting a temple in Japan. Once again, things I wouldn't have known about without my local guide. I saw so many temples during this trip, and I could have spent so much more time admiring them. They're just so cool. After this it was time to have lunch, and this is where the first problems really started to arise. Or well, I guess they started to arise a bit earlier when we were planning on taking a bus, but the bus didn't arrive at the bus stop at all due to the tsunami warning. Turns out that most of the restaurants had also been closed due to the warning, but we did end up miraculously finding one, a proper, authentic Japanese restaurant that of course I didn't film. I'm so stupid. But I can try finding a picture online for you again. I didn't have any idea what I was going to order, because the menu was of course exclusively in Japanese, and my guide left me waiting in the line because she wanted to go buy beer, which I don't really know why this was the time she had to do that, but fair enough. So what I ended up getting was this weird plate of very small fish and rice. Here's a picture of about what it looked like. I'll be honest, I did not enjoy this meal, but it was nice to have a real authentic Japanese meal, I guess. Well, it was then time to return to the train station and say goodbye to my friend. Or well, that was the plan. When we got back to the station, we found out that the trains were not running. Neither were the subways, the buses, or even taxis. They were not running at all. There was zero information on when they would run again, so now the situation was that we were stuck in Kamakura and I had a flight back to Finland on the following day at like 7:50 in the morning. So, if the worst happened and I would have to stay in Kamakura overnight, that would have meant saying goodbye to my return flight. We sat in a cafe for a few hours just waiting for any information. The situation was pretty tense for both of us because she was going to miss her work and I was going to miss my flight in the worst possible scenario. She eventually discovered that while the trains were not running here, apparently the subway was running in the stations that were not located on the shore, and the closest one to us was about 1.5 hours away by foot. So, we came to the conclusion that we had to take the walk. I think walking to the station was the perfect way to end this trip in Japan. I've said it numerous times, I love walking. And walking in this beautiful environment, the weather was so good, the company was amazing, and everything was just great. So in the end, despite the tsunami warning screwing up my plans, it actually made the day better. We were originally going to just spend a few hours in Kamakura, but this few hours sightseeing turned into a 10-hour adventure. I mean, what can I say? I enjoyed the hell out of it. I don't know if my Japanese friend ever finds this video, but if you do, I just want to thank you so much for this day. It was so fun to see Kamakura, and without you as my tour guide, it wouldn't have been the same at all. I also wouldn't have found my way back to Tokyo without your help, so I am really grateful.
Good evening, everybody. I just had a very nice dinner, which is like gyudon, so it's like rice and beef. Very nice, very good evening meal. Now I'm gonna head to shower and then I'm gonna sleep for like 3 hours because I have to wake up at 4 AM to go to the airport, so damn. It's been a great trip. I have enjoyed it a lot. This day was awesome with all the walking and adventuring, and it was really nice. So thank you. And alright, so I'm gonna head to bed and I will see you tomorrow with some of the final clips of the video. See ya. It is now 5 AM, as you can see. And it's time to, unfortunately, say goodbye to our hotel room and also goodbye to Japan. This has been one of the best trips of my life. Genuinely. I've had so much fun and it's been awesome. 2 weeks have gone by so quickly. But yeah, that's just how it is. But even though this trip might be over, there will be more. And I'll be back here. Hopefully. That's in the plans at least. But for now, it is time to say goodbye.
And with that, my trip back to home began at like 4 in the morning. I didn't really film much of anything anymore, so sorry for the recycled footage. All in all, this trip to Japan was pretty much perfect. The only thing that I would have changed was that I wanted to stay there for longer. For the fact, I actually even tried to move up my return flight, but I would have had to pay a shit ton of money to do that, so it just wasn't worth it. I would have wanted to spend more time, especially in Kyoto, as I already mentioned previously. Maybe 3 weeks would have been a perfect time to spend in Japan, I don't know, but for the first time I really feel like I didn't get to see enough. Which is why I will definitely be going back there. I don't know when that is, but I know it will happen eventually. And next time, 2 weeks won't be enough. With that said, I thank you so much for watching. I tried my hardest to make both of these parts as good as they can be, and I will gladly accept some feedback in the comments if you feel like doing that. I would like to wish you a very good day, night, morning, or whatever time of the day it is where you are when you are watching this video. See you around.